Yes, people. What's going on? It's the Kitty G on EGTV, and we're back again with another video. Today we got a special guest. I've been lucky to have Connor been following me on Twitter over the past couple of weeks, and I've been following your work, and I really like the fact that you keep all the Arsenal fans up to date. You run a lot of accounts. Let the people know who you are, Connor, and just how you fell in love with this beautiful club, Arsenal Football Club.
Thanks for having me on, Egal. Cheers, mate. So me and you have followed each other. Maybe about 6 months or something like that now. We jumped into a space together, didn't we? With Carragher.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
I think it was after Everton.
Yeah, I can't remember, but he was. He jumped in. That's when we started speaking. That's kind of met you on the spaces. I work for Sky Sports. Started there about 3 months ago. Part of the Football Daily team at the moment. So just doing that, and then I do like the Arsenal stuff. Like, it's more as a hobby. I do a little bit like work wise with like a couple of companies, but it's more as a hobby now. I did like a journalism degree like a few years ago. Did the journalism thing. Been more like social media since then. Got a couple of season tickets at Arsenal. Been going well. When I first went, I must have been about 10 to Highbury. Ever since then, just followed it and loved it ever since, and hated it as well. So,
how'd you get into Arsenal? So you were just very young when you got into it. Did family? What was it?
Yeah, it was just my dad. To be fair, mate, he just took me to a game when I was for my birthday. I was about 10. I used to watch the games. I think the first time I started getting into it was like 2002. I remember the first time I watched a game. And I was only about 6 or 7, but ever since then I went to a couple of games at Highbury. Then I didn't go like for ages until like I'd finished like secondary school, so I was about 17, 18. First time I went to the Emirates, and just been going ever since, sort of thing. Just been ruining everyone's life on Twitter ever since. So.
There you go. Let's get straight into the transfers, because it's transfer rumor time. Are you optimistic for the transfer window, first of all, as an Arsenal fan, or are you pessimistic?
Bit of both, to be honest, mate. I feel like missing out on that Champions League really did stitch us up quite a bit. They'll say it didn't, but it did. Apparently we were meant to go for a lot more players, and we're not going for that many players now, because you pull the players you're going for, they all want Champions League football, which is understandable. So our pool of players that we're currently looking at is just a lot smaller than you'd have had. We could have been going for a lot of big names this summer. We still are, but like it's just nowhere near as exciting as it should have been. So.
Yeah. Welcome to the chat, by the way, everyone. If you have any questions or anything, let us know in the chat. Also, hit that like button right now. So Connor, the first question I was going to ask you is, obviously the main man that we seem to be going after this window is Gabriel Jesus. We've been linked to so many strikers. What do you think about Gabriel Jesus, and would he be your preferred option for that striker role, or would you be interested in somebody else, like a Tammy Abraham, Victor Osimhen, or anybody else like that?
I'm definitely all aboard the Gabriel Jesus train. Definitely, I think he's a great little player. His stats speak for himself. Like his goal to game ratio is ridiculous. A lot of people aren't sure about him because he's not scored as well. You'd say not enough in a team like City. You're probably one of the best creators in Europe, or in the world. Sorry. But I don't know. I really like him. And after what happened last summer with Ramsdale. I'll say I was wrong about him, completely wrong. I think Ramsdale's class. I wasn't happy about that signing at all, and they proved me wrong. So I'm in no place to start picking choosing who's going to be a good and bad sign. I think the same with a lot of people, and I think Arteta is very if he knows who he wants for his system, and I think Gabriel Jesus will fit that nicely. But we're so desperate for a proper experienced striker, and he's only 25, and you can definitely call him an experienced striker. He gets goals, He wins. He's won so much. Like I say, he's 25. He does have the option to play him on the wing. I know a lot of people will like hearing that because they just want an out and out forward. But I think him plus Eddie being there, I think he's just signed a new contract, so Them
Boom.
two as the two options, and then you got Martinelli who has an option of playing there, Balogun as well. Like there's a lot of good options there as strikers, and they're young, which is the most important thing with this team at the moment. It's obviously quite focused around youth. So Gabriel Jesus just fits all the mold sort of thing, I'd say.
Talk to me about Eddie Nketiah. Eddie Nketiah is going to be getting that 100K a week contract that everyone's been throwing around. I can't believe that he's getting 100K. I think there might be bonus, including bonuses. Am I wrong?
The thing is with the 100 grand a week, it does sound bad. It sounds horrendous when you think about it. But that you think how much we would lose if we lost Eddie. For example, Eddie's like a perfectly good striker. Like he's proved a lot of people wrong, myself included. I wasn't keen about him. Ever since we played, I think it was Chelsea, he took the team on the back of his shoulders, sort of thing. We played Man United. He was class. And he just so many games. He just was like, where has this guy been the entire time? Like, and you think like he hadn't had that many opportunities. I just thought he just proved me wrong completely. He has probably got what it takes to play for Arsenal. Like is the back end of the season where he's actually given the opportunities, he was smashing it, and I don't think you can ask for much more. His goal per minute ratio was insane. It's just I don't think he's probably not going to be like if we have Gabriel Jesus as the main striker, but there's no reason why Eddie can't be a better striker than that in the long run. And you're going to have a lot more games this season as well with Europa League and whatnot. So there's going to be plenty of game time for the pair of them. And I don't think it'd be upset. 100 grand a week for a player who you could have lost for nothing, and you had to go replace him with like at least 25-30 million pound striker. Because striker's the most expensive player on the pitch usually. We have to go and replace him with that. So 100 grand a week in the grand scheme of things is sod all, mate. It's absolutely nothing. So
But doesn't
even
that
if
give
there
us
is
a
bonuses,
problem?
you go.
Doesn't that give us a problem, Connor, for Bukayo Saka's contract?
No, I don't think so, because you need to pay him what he deserves, because Liverpool want to come after him in about 10 minutes. Otherwise, you know they are. So I think you get Saka tied down to the money he deserves to be on, because he is the best player in the team at the moment. He was the best player last season, easily. And he's a forward, he's English, homegrown. Any big team in England will be all over Saka if he became available. So we need to make sure we protect like assets like that, and like Eddie, just 100 grand a week. Like it might seem a lot on the face of it, but honestly, it's nothing. Like in the grand scheme of things, I think.
Boom. Also, another player we are heavily linked to is Youri Tielemans. Personally, myself, when we first are linked to him, first thing that comes to my mind is that game against Tottenham where he defensively lost him the game because he could have just held on to possession, but he lost him that game. And also that clip against West Ham keeps running in people's minds. What do you think about Youri Tielemans? Do you think it would be a good signing, or are you worried about his deficiencies defensively?
He wouldn't be my first choice. I won't lie. I'd much prefer Ruben Neves. I think he's the one we should have been going for. I know we're interested in both, but I think Tielemans is pretty much the guy we're set on now, and Tielemans is pretty keen to join as well. Like plus that, I know we keep going back to the price. Like it's not my money, so it shouldn't really bother me. But we also need to spend that money where we should be correctly. For example, we went and signed Ben White last summer, and we probably didn't need to, even though I do like Ben White. He's a great player. But we already had Saliba there, and probably could have given him the game time.
So
And
if you
spend
had
that
to give
50
this
mil on something else.
if you had to give the stamp of approval for the 25 million pound deal for Youri Tielemans, because it seems like it's going to happen, would you be like, you know what, I can get around this deal and I can see him improving us, or do you think he's not really that much of an upgrade on Granit Xhaka? Because that's the conversation that I'm hearing on socials, where people are like, you know what, they're not sure if he's even a better player than Xhaka.
I like him. He's all right. He's a good player. He'll definitely improve us. Definitely, absolutely. But I think there's better option in the market in Neves. I think anyway. But I don't think Tielemans would be a bad signing for 25 mil. You can't really like that's nothing really. Like a Premier League experienced player. Like he's even won the FA Cup, I think. So
Yeah,
yeah, he's won stuff. He's
he scored the winner.
experienced. Yeah, he's ready for like the next step of his career, like to step up, sort of thing. Probably wants a bit more regular European football. I know we weren't just in it, but like for the purpose of this conversation, we usually are in Europe, and Leicester aren't usually there. So he probably wants to make that step up. And Arsenal are a massive club, and I'm sure he'd be happy to join us. I think he'd do well with us, but he wouldn't be my first choice. But as I said, I'm no one to judge Arteta on his signings because he mugged all of us off last summer because how good Ramsdale's been. So.
There's true. A lot of us disagreed with the Ramsdale thing. Aouar for 12 million has been circling the rounds. Honestly, I don't think it's gonna happen. But like, do you think that's an opportunity we should take upon, jump on?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I'd love to see our Arsenal, but that's not happening. No chance. That ship sailed a long time ago. They should have signed him when they had a chance. And I don't think he's been that bad this season. I think he's been all right for them. Saw him against West Ham in the Europa League. He played quite well. So he's still
Yeah.
got it, definitely. I just don't think that we are going in that direction anymore, which is a shame because I think he'd be brilliant. And for that price, like 12 mil, wow,
Yeah,
he
crazy,
would
right?
be, yeah, unreal.
What about Ruben Neves? You mentioned him a bunch of times. Why is it specifically that you like Ruben Neves so much?
I just every time I watched him play, he's if you forget he's only like 24, 25. He's so young. He's such a big leader in that Wolves team, and Wolves are like how do I say? Wolves are like established themselves now as like one of the main, pretty much top 10 Premier League team every season now. When you look like I don't know how long they've not been in the Championship for. Like they weren't in the Championship that long ago. Now they're this far in, and Ruben Neves has kind of been at the heart of it like the whole time. Like he came there so young and he's just been flourishing ever since. And it's not just us after him; Man United are after him as well, and for good reasons. He's brilliant.
Hmm.
I just think he would sit. It suits very well. I'd love to see him come this summer, and then keep xhaka for one more year possibly, and then eventually probably come in for like Xhaka's main replacement. But I don't see us spending the amount of money what Wolves want for him because they clearly want a lot. Because their manager was talking about it at the back end of the season quite a lot. So he's definitely going to leave. Like but they're going to want a lot of money for him. And I only think Man United are stupid enough to spend the amount of money they want on him. But I don't think with that. For Tielemans, 25 mil and Neves for like, what, 70, 80 mil, that's just a no brainer. You're going to go Tielemans, aren't you? So that's just my
100%.
thoughts on that.
You know what? Thank you guys for smashing that like button. Continue to smash that like button. Welcome Connor to the channel. Big up Connor. Bissouma, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been yelling Arteta, sign Bissouma, sign Bissouma. But I know in the back of my mind that court case and that situation, they're not gonna want to touch the player. But yeah, you probably would agree with me. If everything was perfect, we would have probably gone for him. But it doesn't seem like we're gonna go for him.
I don't know. You kind of feel like he's the sort of player like a lot of big teams would be looking at. I'm surprised he hasn't moved already. But like you said, if he's got like other like circumstances, like, I don't know much about the court case. Sorry, man, I wasn't aware of it. But if there is like other circumstances stopping him, then probably that's probably an issue. But in terms of just obviously the player quality and like how good he is, I don't know how long he's got left on his deal at Brighton at the moment. But he could play for a lot of any of the top teams. Even like I reckon he could get
Chelsea
in
were
that
after
City.
him.
Yeah, Chelsea would be after like Kante. He's on his way out, so Chelsea after he'd easily get an arm midfield, even if he was just next to Thomas. Like Thomas Partey's kind of a bit more of a been playing a little bit further forward, like sort of thing. So you could see like Bissouma taking on a holding role and leaving Partey to push up a little bit more eventually, maybe. But I don't. I see Arteta building Arsenal. If you want to look how you see Arsenal in the future, just go look at Man City and just think we are the B Tech like Man City because he builds everyone exactly the same as that City team. I know we just haven't got as much money as City, and that's how he wants us to be, and that's how he's going to have us playing. So you have like two players in most positions, for example, like Parties or Rodri sort of thing, and they had, who did they have? I'm trying to think. Like Fernandinho's there,
David
and we have
Silva
like
as Odegaard.
sort of thing. We have like that. They have like obviously another holding midfield, and we have lokonga to come in. When they like Rodri came in to take over from Fernandinho, sort of thing. So and like he brings young players in whilst they're like the predecessors are still there, sort of thing. So eventually, I always thought Lokonga was going to be Party's long term replacement because he's
Same.
just quite young, so you can be learning off him, and then eventually he'll just be that player. And I still do think he will be. But that's just how we're building our teams now. We're just sort of like two players in every position, and eventually it won't be like an actual 11. That just be like how City just have a different like forward line every week, sort of thing, just to keep everyone fresh. Just how to compete on that many fronts, you have to do that. So
Just before we continue, Lokonga or elneny, who would you be playing going into next season more? Because for me, elneny has proven that he is ahead of Lokonga in the pecking order right now.
oh yeah, absolutely. I think elneny's been brilliant. Like you got again another one who's like kind of proved a lot of people wrong. Like and people like moan about him getting a contract extension. It's like he's going to be a fourth or fifth choice centre midfielder. He doesn't moan. He doesn't cry when he's not being played. He just does his job when he does. Like you can't ask for more. a player than what elneny gives you. We've probably asked him a lot this season to play the amount of games he did towards the end of the season with Partey getting injured. But you don't expect elneny to play that many games usually. They probably thought, oh, Lokonga would have done a bit better than what he did, but he's young, so he's going to get better anyway. But with elneny, he's come in, there's like a few games you thought, wow, where's this been again? But he plays for Egypt, he does so well with them. He's such a good professional, elneny. He doesn't cry about anything, and he's not even on that much money. So to have an elneny there as a contract extension as well, I thought that was a great move by the club. He's a great role model for the young players as well, elneny. So
100%. Just before we continue, we got some people in the comment section. Thank you guys. Smash that like button. Big up Tim always for moderating. Lokonga's not Reading, some people are saying. One person made a comment that I really liked. They said something across the lines. Arsenal needs to move away from Granit Xhaka and elneny. And we face another poor, or else we might face another poor season. Personally, I'm not going to say Granit Xhaka and elneny are going to be the problem. We just need to improve the quality in the squad. And for me, getting one step forward and improving that quality would be going after opportunities like a Serge Gnabry. So what do you think about that opportunity that could be arising right now with Serge Gnabry and the situation at Bayern? He could be going for as little as 40 million euros. So I think that's an opportunity we have to pounce on. What do you think, Connor?
yeah, it's like you said, Matt. I completely agree with you. Like this, where we went wrong this season is our depth, and we were fine when we played that same back four: Tierney, White, Gabriel, Tomiyasu, Ramsdale, set same midfield. We were doing so well, but anyone can do well with the same 11 every game when you're playing once a week. It really is like you create relationships on the pitch. You watch like Saka and Odegaard when them two click together, like this, it's lights out. Like we usually win the game. And when we had injuries this season, I don't know how many teams you class a left back as a key player in the team, but for some reason Tierney is a key player in our team as a left back. So when we lost him, it hurt a lot. And I think, like you said, elneny came in and did quite a good job, but he's still not as good as Partey, no chance. So we do need to improve the squad depth quite well, but being smart about it at the same point. Like we've lost Lacazette, bringing Gabriel Jesus would be a very smart move. He's a lot better than Lacazette. I've loved Lacazette when he's been here, but like last season he was poor. And that'd be a complete upgrade. But touched on the Gnabry thing, I definitely only see it as an opportunity, but I don't see it as something that we will be going after unless something really weird happened, because they kind of already had their targets set from January. It was like well publicly like known sort of thing, and the targets have been working on the same ones the whole time. And I don't think I've asked about Gnabry to quite a few people, and I haven't heard anything positive in terms of him coming to the club so far. So if he does come, it's going to be an opportunity and not planned. It won't be a planned one. And as gutting as that sounds, I think Gnabry would be unbelievable for Arsenal, but it's a pipe dream. Arsenal fans on social media seem to have just conjured up out of nowhere.
Knock on wood. Hopefully we can get him. That's the best we could do. But what about Hickey? That seems like a reality. Hickey seems like an option that we've been looking at a lot. And I know you've been following the transfer news as much as I have, and I would say maybe even a lot closer with your connections that you have in media. But let me know, what do you think about Hickey? Obviously, this is just completely just a discussion between me and you. It's not any ITK stuff. But do you think Hickey is going to happen? And if he does, what do you think about the player himself?
I'll be honest, man. I have no idea about him. I haven't asked anyone. Just not ITK or anything. I ain't got a clue about him. All I've seen is like the links to him. But yeah, a lot of the links come from Italian media, and you'll probably know better than anyone. Italian media, they talk a lot of
rubbish.
Crap, basically. There's crap. It's just linking us to like nonsense all the time, and you'll notice which publications do it a lot. So he's probably been linked to us through them eventually. I think I saw something the other day where, I don't know who it was like Daily Mail or something. Someone linked to the Daily Mail. The Italian outlet then linked back to the Daily Mail. And it was like, it went full circle. So no one was taking like responsibility of the actual transfer who they linked to us. So it was just utter nonsense basically. So no one, like, it never fell on anyone sort of thing. Just absolute crap. But Hickey, like, I've only saw him play once, and that was the other night against Ukraine. He weren't too bad, but I don't know much about him, mate. I'll be honest, I haven't really watched it. But like Graham Souness, like he even like touched on it. He said, "You don't play 36 games in Serie A for like Bologna if you're a bad player." So he probably is a well-established player. And Tomiyasu, another one, he actually came from Bologna as well. apart from obviously being injured all the time, he's unbelievable. So it sounds weird. Like I don't know much about the player, but I trust in the recruitment. I trust in who they want to get. But I'm still reeling about January where they should have pulled their finger out more. But apart from that,
100%. You know what? I just feel like the ambition wasn't there in January. The ambition wasn't there, in my opinion. And looking at this window, I'm a very positive fan. I tend to be a very positive fan, but I can't help but be somewhat pessimistic about this upcoming transfer window. I'm a little bit worried, especially with Tierney being injured, Pate being injury prone. We need some of our most reliable players are injury prone, and like everyone in the chat wants to ask about Tierney. What do you think about Tierney's injury issues?
I think Tierney's injuries issues aren't new, and they brought in Nuno, like Tavares, to sort of back him up, and he hasn't been as good as it was. He hasn't been a bad signing, Nuno, but he's young, he's very raw. He even came out and said he literally used to be a winger, and they're playing him at fullback. Like if you play him we play like a free back and play him in like a wide role, then you're laughing. That would be Nuno's greatest position because he's
him
defensive.
Going on loan in January?
Yeah, we heard that they were interested in doing that, but like if we'd have sent him out on loan, then what would have done then? Like that would have been madness because having Nuno there was still a better option than not having Nuno there because he's still the best suited backup to Tierney at the moment. Then if he went out on loan, I wouldn't be surprised to see us bringing a left back, as in Zinchenko, who's probably the biggest name on everyone's lips at the moment. But I don't think we'd bring him as a left back. We'd bring him as a central midfielder, play Tierney, and you'll eventually get injured Tierney, and then you move Zinchenko to left back, and then that's how they should be doing it, I think. But Nuno's so defensively inept. So
would Zinchenko come to Arsenal to be a backup?
I don't think he would be a backup. I think he'd start.
He would start in the midfield or as a left back?
Yeah, in the midfield, he'd definitely start for us.
Okay, so if we're signing Zinchenko, we're signing Tielemans, and we still have Xhaka, who's going to be on the bench?
I reckon he'll go for the 4-3-3. Kind of what he's been like 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3. I'd have as 4-3-3. You'd have Saka, Gabriel Jesus, and then probably Smith Rowe, Martinelli. Doesn't matter who on the left wing. Probably have Odegaard just sitting behind. So we play like 4-2-3-1 at the moment, kind of 4-3-3, dropping in. I'd probably have Zinchenko and then Partey as them two. I think Zinchenko's a better player than Xhaka, absolutely.
So you would start Zinchenko over Tielemans and Xhaka at this moment in time?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, definitely. Zinchenko's he's a very underrated player, just because he's playing in that City team he probably looks like he's a lot worse than he is. But I don't know if you watched the game the other night against Scotland. He was unbelievable. He was class, mate. And you give a player like that, he'd have more of a shining light at Arsenal, absolutely, than he is at City, because he's probably just deemed as there's so many stars in that City team. We don't have many stars at Arsenal, I don't think so anyway, like world-class stars. So I think he would absolutely he'd run the show at Arsenal. And someone just said sell Xhaka. Yeah, I wouldn't sell Xhaka, not yet. I'd sell him next year. Get rid of him then. But I think it brings Zinchenko in, have Xhaka next to him or Partey next to him, sort of thing. Because there's going to be so many games as well. We're going to have a Europa League campaign. We're going to have all the cup games. And we literally couldn't even cope with one game a week this season because they got injured. So it's a squad game these days, and they're going to have 5 subs next year as well. So you got to remember that. So Zinchenko.
Just to talk about some of the squad players. Sorry, because we're running short on time today.
Yeah, that's cool, mate.
Maybe just give me a take on some of these squad players that we might be looking at possibly moving or obviously trying to hold on to. So Lucas Torreira, we've been hearing a lot of rumors around him. Cedric, we've been hearing a lot of rumors about him. Pepe, surprisingly, you tweeted out today that he is our leading goal scorer at the club right now. And
I couldn't believe that stat when I see it. Couldn't believe it.
I couldn't believe it, honestly. And then Saliba also. So just give me a take on a bunch of those guys. And Ainsley also. What do you think about those five players?
Saliba, he'll stay. I'm pretty sure of it. We got in good grounds that he should be staying. Pepe, they want to get rid of him. I'm gutted about it as well because I'm a big fan of Nicolas Pepe. I just don't think he's utilised properly. And even when remember that was a stage, he come back he was unreal at AFCON. And he came back. Arteta said he's training differently. He's doing unreal. He scored that. Did he get a winner? Did he score a winner against someone? I can't remember. We got an assist. I can't remember what he did. It was against Wolves.
Pepe, he got the assist.
No, yeah, he did that.
He got the opening goal for us.
He did something important. I can't remember what it was. And he was like, "Oh yeah, this is a different Pepe," and then he
He
just
brought us
didn't do
back in
anything
the
else.
game.
Yeah, but you also got to look at it like he's not going to drop Saka because Saka's a better player. So I think Pepe's just been a bit unlucky as well. But played him out. You could play him out on the left. There are options for Pepe, but I just don't see. I think they just want to cash in now and just probably take like 25 mil for him to get him gone, and then bring in someone else who we probably need a bit more. Torreira, I'm pretty sure he's gone. They was actually meant to trigger his release clause, Florentina, but they didn't. So now he's not. But I think is it? There's another Italian team. I think it's Lazio. I think are after him.
Yeah.
Lazio are after him as well. So I think he'll go. Like he's pretty keen to move through. And you also got to remember he had his kit number taken away from him as well. So I don't see him staying. And who's the last one? Cedric. Cedric, I'm pretty sure is going to stay as well. I know Arsenal fans, I hate to hear that because they're not big fans of Cedric. But I think Cedric's another one who came in a bit like elneny. He's had to do more of a job than you expected of him. I don't think he's as bad as everyone makes out. He's obviously not like amazing, but maybe if we did have Tomiyasu fit for the whole season, we would have got top four. I'm pretty sure we would have. But I don't think Cedric's as bad as everyone makes out. He just had quite a lot of it on his play this season, and you probably wouldn't expect him to have to play all them big games. So he still held his own in most of them big games. So
you know what, this next question is a question that a lot of people don't like to talk about most of the time, but like every time I'm on Spaces or I'm and if we're talking to Arsenal fans, it's always about the manager, always about their stance on the manager. I kind of get a sense that I know where you stand with the manager, but for the people who don't know you or don't know your work, let them know where you stand currently with Mikel Arteta and what's your expectations for next season. Like
the things of Arteta, he's an Arsenal man. He knows the club inside out, and he's come in to an absolute mess left by the great Arsene Wenger, who, don't get me wrong, is an unbelievable manager, greatest thing ever to happen to this club. But Wenger did leave an Asian squad, and it was not looking good. Emery came in, probably made it 10 times worse. So Arteta, it's his first job in management. I'm not saying we should be giving people work experience, but we kind of had to pull the trigger on Arteta before someone else did. And I think we took a gamble on Arteta as in think like, oh, this could be the next Pep Guardiola sort of thing. But when you're fighting against teams who have unlimited money, you need a mental manager. Literally, Liverpool are a prime example of why you need to take a gamble on that thing. Like Klopp he's outrageous manager. He does everything perfectly. He's ridiculous, and we need that as well because we can't afford to go and spend hundreds of millions of pounds to compete with City and Man United and Chelsea. Maybe not Chelsea now, but for when we signed him, all these players, Newcastle, another one coming in now, they're going to be right up there. So I don't think we can compete with them. So we took a gamble on Arteta to hopefully think he was going to be the next Klopp, basically, or Guardiola. And I do think it's paying off. I like what he's done. Gutting that, there's been times in his tenure that we have been, oh God, what is he doing here? I think the Europa League semi final, that was ridiculous. When he played like Smith Rowe, that was horrible. In the false nine, it's just been a lot of times where I've thought that about him, but you look at it, you go to match days, it's a completely different vibe. It's so fun now. Everyone I've got 2 season tickets. Everyone's always asking me can I have tickets? Can I have tickets? Never used to be like that. It used to be so easy to get tickets. Now it's really hard to get them. Because everyone's just enjoying it. You go to a game, everyone's in a good mood. Even when we lose, mate, it's just oh, well done, boys. You still because he's changed the philosophy. As in everyone just loves the club again. And I don't think many managers could have done that. If we'd have brought in a Tuchel, who would have been a better manager, don't get me wrong, he'd been a class manager, but I don't think he would have changed the club the way Arteta has. It'd be more like a short-term fix Tuchel because I don't know. I think Arteta's the long game, and I think we will reap them rewards one day. We just fell short again, but we will be there with Arteta, I promise.
Hey, you know what? For me, Arteta shows more ambition than the board, and some of the people back helping him run the club. So that's one of the main reasons why I still back him. But hey, I personally think Europa League or get back into the Champions League via the league next season, or else it might be curtains for him, unfortunately, because
I just want to say that contract extension, they shouldn't have done that so early. I do agree that they should have left it to the end, but they also got to look at it if Pep's going to be leaving next season, they're going to be looking straight at him, Man City. So they have to lock him down. So you have to look at it from that aspect. They're not like, I don't think they'd have been that silly. But I don't think Arteta would have left Arsenal for Man City, but you obviously never know. So
there you go. You know what? I know you gotta go, so we got like 4 more minutes. So I'm just gonna ask you this. Fake news or real news? Okay, I'm just gonna ask you these questions. Let me know what you think. If you think this is a fake rumor or if it's a possibility. Victor Osimhen, Scamacca, Gakpo, and Moussa Diaby. So those are those. I'm just gonna ask you. Let me know what you think. Do you think they're likely or unlikely to happen?
I'd say they're all unlikely apart from maybe Gakpo. He's the only one with a bit of substance behind like any names there.
Okay, and do you rate Gakpo? Like, do you think he'd be a
I
good option?
don't know much about him. I haven't seen him play a lot. I know his stats have been pretty nuts this season. But it's a Dutch league. It's a completely different animal to Premier League. Anyone will tell you that. So he's a young kid. You never know. Like, it could be the next like Iron Robin. You don't know. But yeah, he's the only name I've heard out of them who've actually got any substance. Like that Italian guy we got linked to yesterday as was some nonsense Italian. So where is it? Yeah, that guy. He we got linked to him yesterday with some nonsense Italian outlet. So honestly, I don't take anything they say of any kind of substance because they just say things for clicks. So.
And then I think the final thing is the Marquinhos situation. Is that you think we're gonna get him, or is it?
Yeah, I think they will get him. That's really weird how that happened. By the way, that's a really weird situation. Apparently, like, yeah, go on.
Basically, we're gonna pay them money before his contract runs out, before the window opens on the 10th of June, just so we can. It's a loophole to get around the fact that he has a pre-contract with Wolves.
Yeah, it's a weird situation, but apparently it's created like a lasting relationship with. Where's he from? Sao Paulo or something like that?
Yes.
I'm not really sure. So a lasting relationship with them. It can't be a bad thing. Like, as much as Eddie does my nutting, like he got his hand right in that Brazilian market, and there's not a better footballing nation than Brazil, in my opinion. So that's the nation you want to be your hand in. So.
Boom. And that's pretty much it. Last thing, Saliba has a decision to make. Do you think he's gonna stay? And what do you think we're gonna expect from the video today? Because he's literally gonna be doing a show.
Yeah, he's doing a video. There should be something out tomorrow. Is it TF1 doing it? The French outlet.
Yeah.
I think he'll stay. But yeah, we'll wait and see. But Arteta, like I said, Arteta came out and said the other day, like, he's an Arsenal player. All this stuff comes on social media. You really have to like separate social media to real life because it's completely different, mate. Honestly, that you get, like I said, you go to games, I go to games. You've got Twitter, I've got Twitter, and you notice there's complete difference on personalities on there. So.
100%. You get away from Twitter, you're gonna realize like 90% of the fan base at the match ground are just happy.
Yeah, they're very content with what's happening right now. So
there you go. But yeah, big up to everyone in the comment section. Sorry that I couldn't get to more of your questions. Big up Connor for coming on. Hopefully we can do this again, maybe near the end of the transfer window, reviewing the window.
Mate.
And really do appreciate you coming on. Do you want to shout out anything for the people, let you know where they can find you?
That's cool, guys. Thanks for having me on, mate. I appreciate it.
Peace out, guys. You have yourselves a wonderful day, everybody.